respected eminent speakers to this our National Remote Sensing Day celebrations of year 2022. I will just start with the brief introduction about our National Remote Sensing Day. So, as you are aware, 12th of August is our birth anniversary of our father of space program, Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, who was born on this day on the 12th of August 1919 in Ahmedabad. So, Dr. Sarabhai is the eminent Indian physicist and industrialist who spearheaded the Indian space activities and also supported many industrial business activities in India. So, Dr. Sarabhai born in family of industrialists and he attended Gujarat College in Ahmedabad and then later shifted to University of Cambridge where he took natural sciences in 1940. And due to World War, he has to come back to India, and then again in 19 where after coming back to India, he took research in the cosmic rays under Sir Chandrasekhar Venkatraman at Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. And in 1945, after Second World War was over, he went back to Cambridge to pursue his doctorate thesis and conducted his experiments under cosmic ray investigation in tropical latitudes. And after coming back in 1947, Dr. Sarabhai established Physical Research Laboratory, which is the cradle of all our space research in India. And Dr. Sarabhai's interest in both science as well as the other industrial activities is very vast. And he established Ahmedabad Textile Industry Research Association in 1947. And he managed this affairs till 1956 and also established Indian Institute of Management in 1962. And when the Indian National Committee for Space Research was established in 1962, which was renamed as Indian Space Research Organization later on, Dr. Sarabhai led that setup and also established our first Thumba Equatorial Rocket Launching Station in Trivandrum. And he was also instrumental in setting up the Atomic Energy Commission of India after the death of Homi Bhabha in 1966. And he played a key role in development of India's nuclear plants in the initial stages. And he has emphasized the need of science and technology and application for the grassroots level and the development of the nation, which is also the theme of today's talk, that is geospatial data and technology for the governance. So, and Dr. Sarabhai has been awarded India's two highest awards, the Padma Bhushan in 1966 and Padma Vibhushan in 1972. So, to celebrate life and works of Dr. Sarabhai, we each year Indian Society of Remote Sensing celebrates our National Remote Sensing Day each year on 12th of August. And I again welcome all the eminent speakers for today. And I request our President, Dr. Prakash Chauhan, to start the proceeding and with the inaugural address. Sir.
Thank you, Dr. Praveen Thakur. Namaskar and good morning to all of you. And my greetings to all the members, those who are joining today's program, as well as all ISRS members and the dignitaries, eminent speakers, all Executive Council members. Greetings to all of you on the occasion of this National Remote Sensing Day. First of all, let me thank our three very eminent speakers, Shri G. Ashok Kumar ji, who is the Director General of National Mission for Clean Ganga, Ministry of Jal Shakti. Then we have also today Shri Ajay Tirki ji, who is Secretary, Department of Land Resources, Ministry of Rural Development, and Mr. Pramod Kaushik ji, who is President AGI and MD of Hexagon, for kindly giving their valuable time on this important occasion of National Remote Sensing Day, which, as Dr. Praveen Thakur told, every year we celebrate to commemorate and remember the great visionary leader in terms of the space program of India, also popularly known as the father of India's space program, Professor Vikram Sarabhai ji. Today is his birth date, and in many ISRO installations, as well as in other places, this birthday is celebrated with great enthusiasm, especially among the scientific fraternity, and our remote sensing and geospatial fraternity also joins, to pay our rich tributes to a man which has a great vision, which basically conceived the entire India's space program. And then at those times, around late 60s, he had this courage and vision to come out with a detailed contours of India's space program, and then with a vision that how this Indian space program, instead of competing with the other powers of the world, essentially should focus on the national development imperatives. So with this vision, this program was started, and today is an occasion when we remember Professor Vikram Sarabhai through these programs. And I am very thankful to all our eminent speakers, all the members of Indian Society of Remote Sensing, all the members of our Executive Council for gracing this particular occasion. Just to give you a brief about the Indian Society of Remote Sensing, this was established in 1969. And today we have basically more than around 5,600 odd members, all over the country. The society's main aim is to disseminate knowledge about the remote sensing technology, which essentially is being used for various applications in the field of mapping, planning, and managing of natural resources, and to also get an assessment about the environmental, impacts, as well as in new, domain. We are also worried about the variability of climate. So satellite remote sensing is also playing very important role in terms of addressing both the causes of greenhouse gas, causes of the climate change in terms of monitoring greenhouse gases from space, as well as seeing the impact of global changes or climate variability on various ecosystems in terms of providing information about indicators. Indian Society of Remote Sensing also, runs a journal, which is basically now a monthly journal. It's called Journal of Indian Society of Remote Sensing. This journal is doing very well. Now it has got a very good visibility. And this year we have achieved an impact factor of 1.9 or so. So I'm very happy to inform all the members and dignitaries, those who are present today, that and I will encourage many of you to send your papers, important research contributions to the Journal of Indian Society of Remote Sensing. Society also operates through 26 chapters all across India, and many of these chapters are regionally very active, and many of these chapters are also celebrating, the National Remote Sensing Day, which is of course around this, August 12. Not everybody is not celebrating on same day, because we plan the National Society's program on this day, and then we request all our chapters to plan their programs around this particular day. The importance of remote sensing was realized long back, and even Greek philosopher Socrates, has written that man must rise above the earth to the top of the atmosphere and beyond. Only thus he will be able to fully understand the world in which we live. So in the true spirit of the thought process of Socrates, India currently operates a fleet of Earth observation satellites, fleet of communication satellites, as well as we also have a regional constellation of navigation satellites. So all these three technologies put together are basically now forming what we call as the geospatial ecosystem in the country. Government of India has also taken very important initiatives in last 2 to 3 years to do the reforms in space sector as well as reforms in the geospatial sector. And by these reforms, large amount of participation of private sector is also being encouraged, and ISRO is also gearing up for that. And we have also already constituted a regulatory body called InSpace, and already the InSpace have started functioning, which basically will enable the participation of private industry into various segments of space activities. Today's program, the theme of today's program is essentially on the geospatial technology for the governance purposes. And of late, we have seen that in various sectors of governance, especially which is basically given, rolled out by Government of India through various ministries, the enhancement of geospatial technologies and services through this technology has considerably increased. Basically, as many of you were aware, in 2015, Honorable Prime Minister himself took an initiative and then organized a national meet where secretaries of various departments, basically they made presentation that how the geospatial technology in their respective departments can be used for providing, effective governance and also creating, the transparency in terms of decision making. So we are now seeing the fruits of that. And in our today's program, I'm also very happy to say that we have two very eminent, speakers from Government of India of secretary level. Shri Ji Ashok Kumar Ji is with us. I welcome you, sir, once again to this particular program. And then we will also hear from Ajay Tirki Ji, who is also Secretary at Department of Land Resources, as well as industry participation by Pramod Kaushik Ji is also well appreciated. I'll not take much time. Once again, I wish the National Remote Sensing Day greetings to each one of you, and I'm sure that today's program will be very popular among the geospatial community because we are bringing today the experts, those who are using geospatial technologies in their respective field, especially in the field of Clean Ganga mission. I know that with our involvement, NRSC, IARS, we have done very good work. Piyush is also there, and then Ashok Ji is spearheading this particular activity. And similarly for the Department of Land Resources, a lot of work has been done where the inputs from geospatial technology have gone. Association of Geospatial Industry is also doing fantastic job in terms of bringing a lot of industry champions and leaders on one platform and trying to sensitize Government of India in terms of resolving issues related to the geospatial industries. From the ISRO's perspective, we have been working very hard in terms of bringing and providing continuity of the Earth observation services by augmenting our fleet of Earth observation satellites. And on behalf of Secretary Department of Space and as Director NRSC, I can ensure the geospatial community of country that ISRO will be leaving no stone unturned in terms of providing Earth observations capabilities from space as well as from aerial and UAV platforms. Thank you very much for each one of you for joining today's program. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir, for your guidance and the information about our Indian Society of Remote Sensing. And I, again, on behalf of ISRS, welcome all the eminent speakers for today. So starting with the first talk of the day, I will briefly introduce about our Honorable Speaker G. Ashok Kumar Ji, who is the currently working as Director General of National Mission for Clean Ganga in Additional Secretary rank in the Ministry of Jal Shakti, Government of India. Dr. Shri Ashok Kumar Ji is the 1991 batch IS officer belonging to the Telangana cadre, and he has served as Joint Secretary in Ministry of Civil Aviation, where he set up the various aircraft accident investigation bureau and played a key role in reviving the airline industry. He is the winner of Telangana Excellence Award for 2018 and Jal Mitra Award in 2002. He has initiated and completed many infrastructure projects like Outer Ring Road, Krishna Phase 2 drinking water pipeline, Godavari drinking water pipeline project in Hyderabad, and as Principal Secretary BC Welfare Department, he was instrumental in starting 119 residential schools in all the assemblies on 12th of June 2017. He has also worked extensively in the sectors related to power, medical, health, urban planning, urban water, information technology, education, tribal welfare, and sports. He has made significant and diverse contributions in the field of water and sanitation sectors. Just to name a few, he was the main person behind the Catch the Rain Where It Falls, When It Falls in 2022. And also, he has paid extensive this campaign, countrywide campaign, Jal Shakti Abhiyan, and which was launched by Honorable Prime Minister on 20th March 2022. And his campaign led to the largest rainwater harvesting campaign in the world. And this success is also makes him the popularly known as the Rain Man of India. And he has also started the popular lecture series, the Water Talks, which happens every held was third Fridays of every month, starting from the World Water Day in 22nd March 2019. So, with these few words, I will request Shri Ashok Kumarji to give us his popular talk on the National Remote Sensing Day. Welcome, sir.
Uh, Thank you, Dr. Praveen Thakurji. Very long introduction. Thanks for that. Sri Ajay Chikisa, Secretary, Department Land Resources, Dr. Prakash Chavan, Director NRC, Dr. Mr. Pramod Kaushik, President AGI, and all other members of the ISRS who are here today. Very warm greetings on the occasion of the occasion of the National Remote Sensing Day. It's very heartening that this particular topic is very close to my heart, partly because I hail from Trivandrum, where the Tumba is existing, and all my classmates they are the part of the PSLV program. In the most of the launch directors are from my classmates actually heading this space research program in the country. So I'm very happy to be associated with that. And with the small failure we had on the small satellite launch vehicle the other day on August 6th, our space program had been always been a winning horse. Our satellite, our mission to Mars has been applauded by everybody. So a lot of improvement and a lot of technological leap which we have made in the space sector is something which India can be very proud of, and I'm also very proud to be associated with that. Also, while I was Joint Secretary Civil Aviation, I could associate with the Gagan satellite, which was used for the now tracking, GPS tracking for the aircraft, etc. So this is something which had been very personally my favorite, one of the favorite topics. Also, Sarabhai sir, one of the pioneers of Indian scientists who had a great vision how to use science for peace, because I think he was the one who actually impressed upon the Prime Minister at that time, Jawaharlal Nehru, to set up science and the improvement of scientific temper among the people of India and use it for peace. That is very important, because when we were talking about atomic energy, probably using atomic energy for destructive purposes, he was the one who was fighting for using those technology also for peaceful purposes. And I started also my career in the TIFR, in the cosmic ray physics, where cosmic ray lab, where Sarabhaiji was there earlier. So that is also in association with him. So extremely proud and happy to be a part of this program today. Now, coming to NMCG and the association with the remote sensing facilities, we had been a very big user of for various aspects of it. NRSA and Survey of India, so they have been supporting us in many of our endeavors. In fact, Namami Gange's authority order mandates the use of spatial information and technology in river rejuvenation. So there is mandated use of geospatial information technology and the associated information from that for mapping the river basin, the flow of drains into the river, and also for the water quality monitoring. So this has been embedded into the psyche of NMCG. So I'm very happy that the many partners who are today here are very closely associated with NMCG for in its pursuit to keep the Ganga clean. And our team has also done extremely well. We have got many awards also for this, using this remote satellite technology in a big way. Last year in 2022, we got the ESRI SAG Award, Special Achievement Award in GIS in 2022 from almost 10 lakh organizations. It's a very proud movement for India, because in California, when they announced that this ESRI SAG award goes to Namami Gange, we felt it's a sort of acknowledgement of the efforts which Namami Gange team, in support with the NRSA and other team, had been doing for river mapping and various associated research projects in this. Also, we had the award for the India Leader Geospatial Award in 2022, and many other awards to that extent. Now, coming to the aspects which we really look into in the remote sensing application in India. Actually, the NMCG is based on a river basin management plan prepared by a consortium of 7 IITs, which had gone through the detailed plan for plan of action for treating the Yamuna water, Ganga water, and Ganga basin in a basin approach, so that individual disconnected activities are avoided, and very holistic synchronous activities are taken up. So this is where we required a view from the sky, because to have a very macro picture, the macro imaging, we have to find out a larger view. Probably a view from the sky was the most appropriate. So with the use of satellite imagery and the change in the course of river over the years, change how the sand sedimentations had shaped the diversion of a river, or meandering of the river, how the locations of drains which actually pour in a lot of dirty water into the river from the sewages from the towns and municipalities on the basis of the Ganga river, how the structure, the paleontologic structure under the riverbed and all, were very instrumental in planning, doing the planning processes. All these things we could get it from the remote sensing in data, and we are thankful to the scientists for getting this huge amount of data, which we are actually grappling very hard to sort of number crunch it and then analyze it and come out with a much more fruitful plan of action. We have tied up with GIZ and other technical experts also to do this to data crunching for us and help us in getting a totally data-based, research-based program for the river rejuvenation and the augmentation of the river water in the river sector. Now, we also have the big challenge of the climate change. So from the Ganga's journey from Himalayas to Bay of Bengal, as I said before, the sewage waste from urban sectors along its banks, effluents from industries, municipal solid waste, polluting waste from other non-point sources like agriculture, etc., are one of the major sources of pollution for the river. So, and moreover, we find that large-scale abstraction of water from River Ganga for different purposes like agriculture, etc., actually reduces the flow of water in the river, and the water which otherwise flowing happens to be lots of sewage and dirty water coming into it, which actually reduces all the quality of life, I would say, of the biodiversity in the field. But thanks to the efforts of Namami Gange in the last 5-6 years, we have really revived the mainstem Ganga. The biodiversity has come back. We find a lot of species coming back. We find the number of dolphin increasing. We find number of small the dolphins, kids of dolphins coming up in a large number. We also find other bio indicators like microorganisms and fishes coming up in a large numbers, which is a very clear indication that the quality of water, which we have been trying to monitor, has really improved. And these are also supported by the observations from the CPCB. who does the real checking up. So let me also tell you what are the other major interventions which we do with the geospatial technology and NRSA. We had been, as I said, attaching high priority for research and evidence-based decision making, with a special place for use of satellite information and Internet of Things, big data, digital twins, etc. And the problem which we earlier found was that a lack of authenticated, validated data, which to a large extent has been now overcome with the information coming from the satellite data we have. We started off with the Bhuvan Ganga National Remote Sensing Hyderabad with the geospatial technology as far as back in 2015. Bhuvan Ganga Geo Portal provides platform to manage, access, visualize, share and analyze geospatial data, non-spatial data products and service towards spatial mashups to support NMCG's objectives of environmental and ecological improvement within Ganga River. So there is a Bhuvan Ganga mobile app also, which is user-friendly, and also to have which can it's available in the public domain where the public can collect information, report information on the various pollution sources that affect the water quality of India. Total number of geotagging is about 3,600 cases as on date, where public has informed us this is where the sort of pollution which is happening. And Clean Ganga app is also geotagging a forestry activity under Namami Gange program. It is operational and it is available in the website of the Clean Ganga Fund. Because Namami Ganga is a very comprehensive intervention, not only the sewage, treatment of sewage and blocking the sewage and the effluent, industrial effluent into the river, it also looks at developing the ecosystem or the river basin. So a lot of tree planting have been taken up right from the plants in the Uttarakhand areas and the forest areas. A lot of forestry, afforestation activities have been taken up, funded by the NMCG. So we keep track of the progress of these afforestation activities and also the changes happening in the ecology there through the applications of the NRSA. So that has also been very helpful to us. We also, in collaboration with Survey of India, we have used GIS information technology for mapping Ganga Basin in high resolution, generating digital elevation models. Deliverables of mapping would be with the depth of about 50 centimeters, contour of 1 meter, and orthophotos 25 centimeter ground ground sampling and distance or better is being obtained from that. This has been again a wonderful application for us because there's so much of high resolution and very high scale water. The maps are available for us for planning. This is being used by our scientists here to plan for the STPs and all which we have to take up. It's being done there. Sand mining monitoring being done using the UAV application, UAV technology by IITK. We are doing it using remote sensing data and drone technology, because this is also a very contentious issue of a very sensitive issue of the sand mining or sand removal from the riverbed. Ganga being a very highly silt-prone river, there is a need for ensuring that the extra silt which gets deposited removed to ensure that the river flows in its course. Otherwise, deposits of sand forces the river to meander and get into other places or the private lands of people and then causes a lot of damages. So there is a very delicate balance to be made between the ecological requirement between the ecological requirement of sand removal or silt removal from the basin, as well as to ensure that the riverbed is not covered and then damages are made. So this fine balance is to be handled up. So this requires a lot of study and data. So we are using the information of satellite mapping used by the IITK for analyzing this data. Similarly, IIT Kanpur is executing the research project on geomorphic and ecological impacts of sand mining in large rivers, as revealed from the high resolution historical remote sensing data and drone surveys. So this is being used in supporting our claims in NGT and other statutory bodies, and it has been very well appreciated in this sector. So we also have done water body mapping using UAV technology through the quality control QCI platform. And small river mapping is also done using LiDAR-based UAV technology, because small rivers actually flow into the bigger rivers, and to ensure that the ecological flow is maintained in the Ganga, we have to revive the smaller rivulets which feed into the river. That's where the mention was made about the very successful Catch the Rain campaign. The campaign with the slogan "Catch the Rain where it falls, when it falls." One of the important intervention was to ensure that the small rivers and rivulets are rejuvenated, and also do a geographical mapping of all the water country. So we have actually under the campaign done more than 15 to 16 lakh water bodies mapping, geotagging, and the photographs have been done. And interestingly, these data, which probably was collected for the first time, has become a very good source of information this is supported by the Ministry of Rural Development and the Ministry of Land Resources, because nobody used to have a comprehensive integrated database of water bodies, because every department used to be in silos looking at their area of work and their projects which they have done. So the Catch the Rain campaign was probably one of the campaigns where we tried to break that silo and brought all the activities done by various departments of the government, state, as well as central government, and NGOs also even, and the religious institutions, etc. Many of them are also doing a lot of water conservation activities. They all were brought into one platform and tried to make it as one India, one water database. So that was very helpful. So to study the change of course of river, etc., we had you used to compare the old data, 1961-65 data of the old imageries from the satellites, where we used to locate actually the flow of river then, and how much changes have been occurred to the river flow now. And some analysis is being done here. This is also looking at helping the state governments to look at the land to look at the change in land use pattern over the years. So we also have taken up a lot of effort in spring rejuvenation using remote sensing, GIS, and UAV technology. Spring rejuvenation is again now become very important, because these are the sources of the small rivulets in the upper reaches of Ganga, particularly in Uttarakhand and other areas. These are the springs are what used to be the main source of small rivers, which used to merge with the bigger rivers and then ultimately fall into the Ganga. So the source of Ganga, even though we say that it starts from Gangotri, it are these small rivulets which join them, and that ensures the continuity of river until probably it is a large quantity of water extracted from the Ganga river to the Ganga canal. So that way it is going on very well. And we also have a GIS mapping of microbial diversity in Niri Nagpur. There is a aquifer survey by NGRI Hyderabad, climate change scenario mapping using weather research and forecasting model by IIT Delhi. There is also, we do environmental assessment using GIS. So we are looking for real-time data network analysis of water, particularly the newly found out interest in the water quality monitoring, remote water quality monitoring. I don't know how successful will that be, but remote quality water monitoring through satellite technology is also being experimented upon. We also did cultural mapping using GIS by Intact, because Ganga and its basin has a tremendous over of historical places, of mythological places, of places where of interest for national importance, for natural even during for the freedom movements, etc. So we have now identified and geotagged and given the information of all those historical as well as mythological places identified intact, and we are taking it up as part of the Earth Ganga campaign. Earth Ganga is one of the campaign, one of the directions with the Honorable Prime Minister had given to us in the last meeting of the National Ganga Council to make river people connect to an economic bridge. So to get this economic connect, we are looking extensive use of satellite technology, whether it is the location of the fish shoals, because fishing is also a very important activity. We are ranching a lot of fish. This last 2 months, we have ranched almost 20 lakh fishes back to the river. So there's instead of the catching the river, which most people are familiar with, we are actually putting back the river fishes to the river so that small fingerlings can grow up and develop and improve the economy of the fishermen in that place. So we are high quality fish. We are breeding and putting them back to the river. That's also happening. And satellite imagery is also used to look at the movement of the shoal of fishes. Afforestation mapping, as I mentioned before, by FRI, and also biodiversity mapping is being done with the help of satellite. So a lot of activity, as I said, is being taken up on the river basin management for the ensuring the ecological flow as well as for biodiversity in the river. So I applaud and support the and acknowledge the contributions made by the scientists of the NRSA and also from other geospatial technology institutions and the experts in that field. We are also trying to set up a war room or sort of thing in NMCG, where we'll try to display this type of information of high DM pictures, imageries of various Ganga basins and the tributaries of Ganga onto the water screen, and probably do a real-time monitoring of the flow of water and also the functioning of STPs. So once again, I thank the society for giving me an opportunity, and also congratulate the Indian scientists who have done exceptionally well in particularly the satellite space technology field, and pay homages to the great man Vikram Sarabhai, who was instrumental in making science as a part of the development program in the country. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir, for your enlightening talk. And it will be our privilege to visit the world-class facility of NMCG at Delhi, and also the visible impact of Namami Gange projects are clearly seen in the time series of the satellite data before the these STPs, and lot of work along the main river as well as the tributaries, which has been done in during last more than 8 years. So thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation, and we will have panel discussion also at 12 to 12:30, and we will take up the questions from the our participants which have joined via our two YouTube channels. So one is by the Indian Society of Remote Sensing, and other by the our EduSat distance learning program of Indian Institute of Remote Sensing. So we will take up the questions, sir, during that panel discussion. So now I would invite our next eminent speaker from Government of India, Shri Ajay Tikle ji, who is the Secretary of Department of Land Resources in Government of India. Dr. Shri Ajay ji is the 1987 batch of Indian Administrative Services. He started his career as Assistant Collectorate of Ujjain in 1988, and subsequently he has served in various capacities with Government of India and various other responsibilities. And his major contributions, which are highly notable and appreciated by the government, especially in year 1999, as a district collector of Hoshangabad district, he conducted one of the largest flood relief operations where the water level rose more than 14 feet above the danger level, and 11,000 people were actually safely evacuated during that rescue operation. And he was also served the state of Chhattisgarh as a district collectorate of the Raipur. And as a joint secretary, Ministry of Defense, he drafted the Armed Forces Tribunal Bill Act in 2007, and also instrumental in getting the 11 Armed Forces Tribunal benches established in a record time period of 2 years. And he is also served as a director, Markfed in Madhya Pradesh, and was the member in the three core team of this organization. And also he, as a principal secretary in the medical education, he got seven major medical colleges in Madhya Pradesh, and also he did all the preparatory plan activities for the master plan design of the Madhya Pradesh in the year 2012. As additional secretary, Ministry of Women and Child Development, he was instrumental in moving the protection of children from sexual offences, POSCO Act, and also introduced death penalty for the those kind of charges. And as his current assignment, Secretary Department of Land Resources, he has done tremendous job. We are all aware about the Swamitwa Yojana, and also he has received the Prime Minister Award for Excellence in Public Administration in National Generic Document Registration System. And the Department of Land Resources under his leadership has received the Geospatial World Excellence Award for Land Administration, AGI Award for Land Administration, and also he's doing the 8 states multilingual land records, which are basically essential for the country like India, where a lot of linguistic barriers have been broken. And he is also presently working on a major project of Government of India, Matri Bhumi, and integrated land information management services, which will cater to all agriculture, food, financial institutions, fertilizer, and other sector needs. So with this, I again welcome and thank Shri Ajay ji for accepting our invitation and share his views and the progress what has been made in Department of Land Resources. Welcome, sir.
Good morning to all of you. Good morning, Dr. Prakash Chauhan, Director NRSC and President ISRS. Mr. Pramod Kaushik, President AGI and MD Hexagon. Shri G. Ashok Kumar, Director National Mission for Clean Ganga, and all were connected to this event. At the outset, let me extend my warm wishes to all ISRS and its members. A very happy remote sensing day for all of you, and I convey my best wishes for more increased applications of remote sensing in governance, which is very vital for all of us, the various sectors and India. On this occasion of the birth anniversary of Professor Vikram Sarabhai, let me extend my best wishes to each and every remote sensing fraternity stakeholder, because his vision for developing remote sensing applications has led to one of the most acknowledged scientific applications program across the globe, especially for its societal benefits of unprecedented scale in India. Upfront, I would like to state that remote sensing and GIS applications, with which all of us are deeply connected to, we see these both as the way forward for transforming India because of its immense potential and possibilities of making use of huge expansive data sets for policy making and day-to-day governance across sectors. We are also aware of the fact that the Earth observation satellites have successfully established many operational applications in the country. Both at central and state level, there are large number of users who utilize space-based inputs for various purposes. We are aware that the important missions in terms of IRS series of satellites that has enabled unique applications of space-based imaging like Cartosat, ResourceSat, OceanSat, BRISAT, Mega, Tropics, Saral, INSAT series, and host of other satellites have contributed immensely in all these various sectors. The highlight of the above programs is that the application-oriented focus and the benefits that accrue to the country through these programs is very vital for all of us. The societal services offered by Earth observation, SATCOM, and the recent navigation satellites in various areas of nation development, including education and telemedicine, are standing examples of applications oriented space program in the country. We are aware that remote sensing applications projects at national, state, and local levels are being carried out through a well-established multi-pronged implementation architecture of national natural resource management systems in the country. During the past many years, Indian remote sensing satellite constellations have taken giant strides in ensuring many areas of application. Some of the most important ones we are all aware are the agricultural crops inventory, water resources, information system, groundwater prospects, forest working plans, biodiversity, coral mapping, potential fishing zones, ocean state forecasts, rural development, to which our department is deeply engaged, urban development, inventory and monitoring of glacial lakes, water bodies, disaster management, support programs of relating to cyclone, floods mapping, landslide mapping, extreme weather monitoring, and experimental forecasts, and so on and so forth. Geospatial technologies, remote sensing, satellite communication, and navigation systems are providing many new pathways for effective management of natural resources. This has resulted in enabling variety of data and information products for societal benefits, and also helping planners and decision makers be in the government of India to embark upon unique people-centric services. Web, geoportals, and mobile technologies, especially the Bhuvan Geoportal, are very popular platforms, and we are deeply engaged in the Bhuvan Geoportal being used by the department and this department as well as other departments of the government of India. The government has successfully adopted use of such technologies for the benefit of people at large. And this includes the central, the state governments, the departments, ministries, in ensuring best of solutions for optimal management of national resources, support services for good governance and societal development. Through a well-coordinated effort, this system has been able to provide several important applications that are becoming people-centric day by day. This department, our department of land resources, has been associated with remote sensing since early 80s, especially with regard to assessment of wastelands, followed by detailed mapping approaches that is currently evolved in the web GIS based framework of watershed monitoring using latest high resolution data sets. Applications developed for wasteland monitoring graduated from course level assessments to fine scale assessment at 1:50,000 that evolved into analyzing the dynamics of wastelands over the years. Such analysis has strengthened the policy decisions and decision making across sectors. We are all aware that in an effort to productively use India's wastelands data, the Ministry of Rural Development came out with the Wasteland Atlas 2019. It was significant as it takes into account 12.08 million hectares of unmapped area of Jammu and Kashmir for the first time. The effort has resulted in estimating the spatial extent of wastelands for the entire country to the tune of 55.76 million hectares. Support of remote sensing for micro hydrological resource assessment and detection of assets created to reduce runoff and increase concentration time has brought in higher level of transparency in managing rural water resources at the local levels. The approaches are aimed to integrate data sets prepared for decentralized planning purpose as well as for monitoring purposes. Apart from land resources assessment, support for rural development has been on the other domain fronts. Efforts have been significant. Application for assessment of groundwater, completion of rural roads, decentralized planning for Gram Panchayats, to name a few, have been path-breaking. Groundwater prospects maps 1:50,000 scale prepared for entire India using satellite data form a comprehensive database on groundwater development and are useful for narrowing down the target areas for selection of sites for drilling new wells. Solution, in fact, helped to increase efficiency of well siting by up to 90%. It has also helped in identifying sites for recharge structures as well. Efforts have progressed into development of detailed scales 1:10,000 groundwater prospects commensurate with local micro level planning needs for the critical areas. Under Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, WDC, we call it Watershed Development Component of the PMKSY, watershed monitoring has graduated into a new stage of scientific monitoring involving precise satellite-based and ground-based features. Initiated with Srishti Drishti, a mobile app-driven web-enabled remote sensing platform for visualization and analytics, the program hereafter will involve advanced methods, standard indices, and customized indicators are derived from Earth observation for reporting the success of field level interventions. Rural level planning of village assets and conservation structures using planning tools available on ISRO portals that exploit remote sensing derived multi-thematic layers have added value to decentralized participatory approaches for rural resource planning. Data sets essential for strengthening initiative of Gati Shakti in terms of rural assets and infrastructure have been derived from various rural monitoring programs using geospatial tools. Current trends in enhancing development space technologies ecosystem involving startups in the field of space technology application aims to strike higher synergy between government and entrepreneurial initiatives that can in turn be harnessed for remote sensing application development. To finally conclude, the future holds immense promise and possibilities for newer horizons in remote sensing and space applications. To my mind, it would be extremely important to look at all remote sensing and space resources as a common resource and leverage successes in particular sectors for the common national good. I once again extend my best wishes to all in the remote sensing fraternity and wish all of you success in all your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your this in popular talk, and also giving the full gamut of the applications which space technology and also your ministry has been utilizing for last many years. So we look forward for your active participation as well as feedback in these applications to point out where we can improve and how we can support you in providing the base data sets as well as the advanced applications which will support various development activities of the government. So I once again thank you, sir, for taking your precious time and sparing us your thoughts for our National Remote Sensing Day celebration. So thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So next in
Praveen,
the
I would
yes,
also
sir.
like yes,
Yes, sir.
Praveen, before you proceed, I would also like to thank Mr. Ajay Tirkiji, Secretary, Department of Land Records, for sparing his valuable time and highlighting the very important contributions which geospatial technology is basically making as far as the work of Ministry of Rural Development and Department of Land Records are concerned. In fact, we have a very good working relations with this particular department, and large amount of work through NRSC, IIRS, and other ISRO institutions is being carried out, and Turkey Saab is a big supporter of geospatial fraternity. So once again, sir, I would like to thank you for your patronage and support for geospatial fraternity, and thank you for joining and giving your valuable time today.
Thank you very much. And I look forward to all the future engagements with remote sensing and NRSC. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
And
Thank you,
sir, if you can spare few moments at 12 o'clock, we have a small panel discussion. So we'll be taking few question answer sessions
Okay.
and some concluding thoughts during 12
Yeah,
to 12:30. Yes,
definitely.
yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So next we have our main industrial some eminent speaker, Shri Pramod Kaushik ji. Pramod Kaushik ji is the president and managing director of Hexagon India, and he is also president of Association of Geospatial Industries in India, and he has a vast experience in this particular field of over 30 years. And earlier he has worked with the Rockwell Automation and GE, and in the last assignment as a GEO of Digital Solution ONG India, South Asia region. Within this tenure at GE, he was honored with the awards like Heroes of Growth and GE Energy Spark Sales Excellence for building and organizing the teams to drive growth in this particular field. And Shri Pramod ji joined Hexagon in February 2017. Shri Pramod ji has a master's degree in electronics and communication from Delhi College of Engineering, Delhi University, and MBA from Faculty of Management Studies, Delhi University. He is a skilled yoga practitioner and avid reader and a delightful speaker. We again welcome Shri Pramod ji for this our celebration. And I will be reading his message which he has sent us, and also playing the recorded message which has been given by Pramodji, as he has a certain assignment now. So I'll be sharing my screen. Hey, sir, inviting me to speak on National Remote Sensing Day and provide industry perspective on geospatial technology for governments. In the august presence of Shri Ajay Trikheji, Secretary, Department of Land Resources, Shri G. Ashok Kumar, Director General, NMCG, Dr. Prakash Chauhan, Director, NRSC, and President, ISRS. Other scientists, engineers, and the dignitaries. The topic today is geospatial for governments. If you look at the framework in the country, everyone, politicians, economists, urban local bodies, central government, state governments, social organizations, geospatial is an industry, and citizens have to really contribute as stakeholders for the urban and rural governance. Without everyone pulling together and working together closely, this governance is not going to be successful in the country. Why only in ours, but anywhere else as well. And this has to be backed by technology, innovation. We have to provide some backbone. And this is what is providing a backbone for the good governance. If you look at the very first on the top, we have to have the technology. And there's so much available in the country today. There are a lot of scanning tools and technologies, whether it's LIDAR, radars, ground penetrating radars, EML, on the side, which is very basically GNSS and positioning. So all the GNSS, GPS systems, IoT sensors, terrestrial positioning systems. On the Earth observations, of course, we're all masters of it. Satellite, remote sensing, drones, UAVs, aircraft, photogrammetry. This actually technology is fed into, and others are really working on this. These days, there's so much happening on artificial intelligence, AI, ML. These technologies of the so-called geospatial technologies have to work together along with the latest tools and tackles like AI, ML, GIS, modeling simulations, big data analytics, and rest of the new things which are coming to do this entire data which has been collected by surveying and mapping into data processing and analysis. When this processing analysis happens, we need to use this information for workflow integration and workflow design. So if you look at in the workflow, building information systems,
Mr. Praveen, you'll need to unmute yourself. We can't hear him.
Applications are urban affairs, land administrations, defense, security, climate risk and disaster management, utilities, infrastructure and construction, national resources, agri and fisheries. And India is in the dire need of utilizing this technology, since we have to utilize this technology to enhance the income of the farmers. We have to deliver on, I would say, climatic and sustainability, initiatives, what we are taking. And actually, we want this to be used by all the citizens where so-called as inclusive growth happens. What are the top 5 sectors driving geospatial in 2025, into 2025? Defense and security, massive one. And some of the applications on defense security can be situational awareness, military operations, positioning, logistics management, real-time weather updates, cyber security, and believe me, the host of other applications which can be put over here,
where our defense forces require. We all have to pull ourselves together at geospatial industry by working with the other larger industry verticals to see that we provide the framework and we provide the technologies to defense and security with the geospatial situation we have in the country. Urban development, which is massive. You know, almost 50% of the population of the country in next few years, I would say, in very short span time, would be residing in the cities. And we need to take care of the planning, implementation, property taxation, resource optimization, disaster risk management, asset management, the host of other applications. And just last week, we as AGI, we released a report on urban development. Please have a look at it. It's a massive effort done by the Secretariat of AGI, and it provides so much of, I would say, insight into what can be done. And that is what we are seeing over here. Transport infrastructure again. You know, we keep seeing the transport minister talking about that India infrastructure logistics cost is 17% as compared to China, maybe 8%, 10 to 12% in the, I would say, the developed countries like US and Western Europe. And we are at 17%. So we have a headwind coming through that. And when like the new initiatives, what we are talking, this is geospatial comes into absolutely everything. Whether we are talking about the DFCCs, we are talking of the corridors, you know, which are meant only for the transportations. So it does demand assessment, gap identification, data sharing, asset tracking management, and everything which is trying to see what's the progress of the projects, what is the progress, or we can find the progress of the project in 3D on real-time basis. And many of our projects are out in terms of time and the cost. I think we require geospatial everywhere into the entire infrastructure. Utilities, energy, electricity, water. The best of the softwares are available today from geospatial industry, which can do the network tracing, asset lifecycle management, even real-time operations monitoring, as well as the customer support. You can find from the which track is giving, whether it's a fiber optic network, electrical network, or water network which is going. You should be able to find where the leakage is or where the fault is, call on a number, just like you do a computer aided dispatch, and you're able to do it with the actually operating procedures downloaded directly from the system. And there's a workflow which is having the geospatial embedded into that workflow, and anyone who's going to take care of it would come to know what needs to be done. And the fifth one, which is not the least, I would rather say, land administration, which is very massive for a country which is having almost 60% of the population dependent on the land and agriculture for that matter. So some of the application on cadastral mapping, change detection, land use, land cover, and so on. The project is one good example where this is actually working very well. And I just want to say that Gati Shakti, the real base which would come is also from geospatial. And of course, the tools I don't need to mention to this gathering, you know it much better. So everything, whether it's satellite, aerial, drone, LIDAR, radars, GPS, GIS, everything, these are the tools. But finally, we need to work on applications. And the geospatial has the power to transform the governance. We have seen it. And I've been talking about it. Improved collaboration. If you don't have the one single sort of truth, what can you do about it? And spatial integrated thinking, which is just like decision support thinking, decision support systems, where we are integrating the geospatially integrated network, and you can see every department, which is many times work in silos, can see the single source of truth. And once we have integrated on a geospatial way, the decision making happens very, very fast. And that is where we are enabling a new knowledge infrastructure. And the workflows can be streamlined by working with AI, ML, and the cloud computing, big data analytics. The collective intelligence is derived from here. And this is where I would say the geospatial for good governance happens. I'll just go through very quickly some of the success stories. And some of them you can see here, the industry members on disaster management, which is actually for the floods in the Kerala, land administration. Some of our members have worked. This is for the Rajasthan, agriculture, water resources. Many of the like Karnataka watershed is the good example where our partners have worked and we have delivered the solution. And also in construction infrastructure. Another way is basically governance happens when there's a safety. There's a good example where UPCCTNS actually has come out with citizen portal. Very strong analytics which has been given, simplified zone analysis for the crime, and absolutely planning countermeasures. And near police officials are automatically detected and contacted during incidents, emergency, and the computer-aided dispatch happens, where the map goes to the police PCR van or the police person, where he comes to know that what's the shortest route to reach to the incidents, and then he can go and reach. And UP is a great example where it used to take hours for a police person to reach. Now they are getting a help in 12 to 15 minutes. And then incidents report response time and historical crime data analysis also happens. Which area the crimes are happening more? The crimes are happening on the women or the men, or which are the more, I would say, prone areas, and we can take the proactive actions. And everyone through down from a police, I would say constable up to DG level they can have access to this, and insights are given depending on the level. Mahabhumi, again, this is a massive project, and they got an award in AGI National, I would say, leadership meeting. And this is the large-scale mapping of entire state, including digital elevation model and orthomosaic generation. It lays the foundation for the spatial data infrastructure in the state. All the outputs and insights are communicated to various government departments from a single source of truth, enabling data-driven decision support system for the government of Maharashtra. It's proving to be very effective, and this is again a decision support system where the revenue department is using to enhance their revenue and able to support the citizens. Again, GeoSpace improved urban services for Jammu Smart City. And single windows and single source of truth, as I've been talking about, that's the beauty of geospatial, accurate value assessment and taxation. On the other day, when the urban report was being released, and we heard the commissioner of Ghaziabad saying that how he has been able to increase his revenue from 50 crores to 100 crores in a short span of time, and how it's helping him actually by using the geospatial technology to increase his resources. And that's his deploying back into improving the state of the, I would say, citizens in Ghaziabad. And this is another example where smart cities are using it. And this is a citizen-centric approach. And some of the, let me just tell you, till now I've been talking about how the governance can happen by using the geospatial technology. What is the framework? And some of the examples. Now I would like to just very briefly talk about what are we doing in AGI so that the larger role of AGI is seen by much larger audience. That's our mission, to the voice of geospatial industry in the country and creating business opportunities for geospatial industry by advocating applications. And we are providing a conducive policy environment by working with the government and assisting the members in their business development and growth, because geospatial industry has to grow if this is a mass adoption which has to happen in every state, in every vertical. And these are objectives were taken for next 2 years. Being, creating thought leadership in the country, opportunity creation for the members, industry support and the development, very important. Policy advocacy in a very positive way by working with each of the government departments. Talent development, the capacity building, very important, and enhancing the geospatial adoption. I don't know teach to the choir, you all know it. And the senior leaders who are sitting on the dais are able to see that they have been utilizing it and what are the benefits. But we want a large scale adoption, and that's how we have taken the objectives. We're open to tweak them with your feedback. And these are the government departments we are working with. I'll not name all of them, but just the major ones. Geospatial nodal departments like Earth Sciences, DST, Survey of India, for FSI, National Remote Sensing Centers. And I'll not name all of them. Agriculture, Ministry of Agriculture, Water, Jal Shakti, National Mission for Clean Ganga, and state water boards, land resources, all the departments within land resources, I would say, we are working with. And then on the utilities, Ministry of Electronics and IT, Power, Energy, Department of Telecommunications, Infrastructure, Railways, CRIS, Road Transport and Highways, massive user of, I would say, geospatial equipment, sensors, and the softwares. Ministry of Civil Aviation, again, a big user. And in the urban development, this is again, like we just gave an example of smart cities. And there's a massive deployment in every smart city in terms of doing surveys, providing the mapping, and providing the decision support system and integration of the geospatial framework with all other, I would say, like whether you're using a SAP or you're using other CRM tools or using the traffic lighting system, all this get interconnected. Urban development, again, urban local bodies, smart cities, very massive users, and should the town and country planning, very, very important. We are working closely with them as well. So these are some of the departments we're working. And some of the other initiatives, we are really working to see that the second UNWGCI National Organizing, Committee we are contributing as part of that, and this is done successfully. And AGI is part of this organizing committee. We are enabling active engagement between industry and nodal agencies. We had multiple of them, and we are continuing to do it. Regular industry surveys. We did recently a survey, and I would ask Megha to share the survey report with, I would say, some of these departments and with you as well here. Opportunity creation networking, very important. We would want the industry to work together among themselves and providing and getting a very holistic approach on this. And some of the talent development, we are doing MOUs and engagements with the government agencies and academia. And of course, we come out with the newsletters, sector-specific reports. We are very active on social media. Please do go to our WhatsApp, Twitter, and rest of the accounts on social media. There's a lot of activity happening, and very happy to share that our engagements on some of these platforms is very high now. And I would rather say in the end, we are your geospatial industry partner, AGI. Thank you so much.
So thank you, sir, for this talk and giving the information about the works which is being done by Association of Geospatial Industries for supporting and also implementing geospatial solutions. And I would also take this opportunity to read the message from Shri Pramod ji, which he has given us. The day 12th of August is celebrated each year as National Remote Sensing Day to commemorate the birth anniversary of Padma Vibhushan Dr. Vikram Sarabhai ji, the father of Indian space program. His contributions to the science and culture of independent India is bearing fruits even to this day and making each of us as proud Indians. Today, as we celebrate 75th year of independence with the clarion call of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, we should not fail to acknowledge the tremendous contribution of Dr. Sarabhai that made India a scientific and a cultural leader in the world. And some of the premier institutes he established range from ISRO, Physical Research Laboratory, Operation Research Group, Nehru Foundation for Development in Ahmedabad, Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad Textile Industry Research Association, SEPT University, the Darpana Academy of Performing Arts. The geospatial industry is forever in debt to the Dr. Sarabhai for his immense contribution to the field and for laying the foundation of institutions that even to this day enable us to serve our nation and create a positive impact in a global arena too. The geospatial industry appreciates and thanks the Indian Society of Remote Sensing for celebrating this day and for inviting AGI to be part of it. Thank you. Thank you, sir, for your message on this important day and also giving your valuable time for this celebrating this particular event. Now, next we have our Honorable President ISRS and Director NRSC, Dr. Prakash Chauhan ji, as our speaker. So Dr. Prakash Chauhan does not need any introduction. Sir has been the leader in the field of remote sensing for more than 3 decades now. Dr. Chauhan obtained his postgraduate degree in applied geophysics from University of Roorkee, which is now IIT Roorkee, and PhD in physics from Gujarat University, Hyderabad. And prior to joining NRSC Hyderabad, he was a director at the Institute of Remote Sensing, where he nurtured all of us to achieve our goals till from April 2018 to 2021. And he joined ISRO in 1991 at Space Application Scientist, Space Application Center, Ahmedabad, as scientist, and worked in the applications of space technology, including remote sensing for geoscience, atmospheric and oceanic processes, natural resource management, and he initiated for the first time in India the planetary remote sensing at Space Applications Center to study solar system objects, mainly Earth, Moon, and Mars, through Indian planetary missions. And he also served as group director at SAC for Biological and Planetary Science Division during 2014 to 2018. His major contributions are in the Earth observation application for the development of ocean color parameter retrieval, marine resource assessment, aerosol remote sensing for space, from space, and air quality monitoring, river and reservoir water level estimation from spacebound altimeters, and coastal zone management. And he has been supporting the use of remote sensing for understanding the climate response for the Himalayan cryosphere and air quality from space. And he has been the leader in hyperspectral remote sensing, especially leading the Chandrayaan-2 and Chandrayaan-1 hyperspectral remote sensing instruments such as IRS, and also the scientific analysis instruments in the Mars orbiter mission of ISRO. And his recent work on Chandrayaan-2 using IRS spectrometer data has resulted in unambiguous detection of H2O and OH molecules on the surface of Moon. As director of IRS, he has spearheaded many research and capacity building activities in the field of remote sensing and application.
You can go ahead now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And he has been awarded many awards, including the PR Pisha Rotri Award in 2004 and Dr. Vikram Sarabhai Hariom Parishad Award in 2009. And he is a member of many prestigious academies like NASI and Indian Society of Remote Sensing and Indian Social Science Academy. So I again invite Director NRSC, who is the main technology provider for the geospatial data, as well as for the interface between Government of India and ISRO. So I again welcome Dr. Prakash Chauhan to present his.
Thank you, Dr. Praveen. You can see my presentation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can see.
The presentation visible? Yeah. Okay. So, good afternoon to you all the members of the ISRS Society, as well as all those who have joined this particular program on National Remote Sensing Day. My greetings to each one of you once again. I will be just, giving a brief on the geospatial technologies uses for e-governance and service delivery. Many of these things have been talked about by my previous speakers, so some of the material may be slightly repetitive in nature. Please bear with me, but I would also like to apprise you with the current, things which are now coming out from ISRO's STIBL, as far as the Earth observation satellite systems are also concerned. So, as far as the geospatial technologies in India and Indian geospatial strategies are concerned, the basic purpose is to serve, and to make the society as a very strong society in terms of transforming it, in terms of catalyzing the economic development and enhancing the human resources quality to booster the strength of the nation and also the national strategic needs. So we have three basic verticals for that. One is basically natural resource development, which is a very keen, very important subject where large amount of work is being done. Previous speakers talked about it. Environmental integrity is also becoming a serious concern. We have been all facing issues related to climate variability, and then human development indicators in terms of achieving sustainable development goals for food security, water security, energy security, and many such SDG indicators where the geospatial technology has direct roles to play. So we have the various technologies, which basically now culminates into what we call as the geospatial technology. We have this remote sensing or Earth observation capability, essentially being used for mapping, monitoring, impact assessment, building livelihoods, building climate resilient society or disaster resilient societies. Then the satellite communication along with the terrestrial communication also plays a very important role in terms of providing access to the information, in terms of last mile connectivity, especially in the remote areas, in high seas, and then when you are basically, even now there is a presence, even NRSC has presence in far off continents like Antarctica. And then, of course, we have the GIS and GPS systems, which are basically linking all these databases onto a common platform where we can develop, various variables which are useful for socioeconomic development, and then the products and services which can basically focus in terms of improving the livelihood of the citizens. Currently, as has been told previously, the geospatial technologies are basically what we call is being used extensively in terms of rebooting the e-governance in India, and it has a role everywhere. In fact, Government of India has a big emphasis on Digital India programs. There are a lot of schemes and programs I will not repeat again, but the 5 pillars to self-resilient, reliant India in terms of Atmanirbhar Bharat, essentially has all the elements which are also available through the geospatial technology and space technology, along with other complementary information communication technology, are making India a leading country in the field of e-governance through the help of technologies. As far as India's initiative in e-governance are concerned, morning I talked about the role of this national meet where Honorable Prime Minister himself, took lead, and then large amount of ministries was brought in under one umbrella, and then he gave this famous motto also that let there be no space between space and the common man. And through these initiatives now we have, in various sectors, including, education, health, panchayat raj, agriculture, energy, environment, water source, fisheries, urban, we just talked about it, mining, air traffic, everywhere, even in case of now, the blue economy development through sustainable coastal development, coastal spatial planning, all these areas now there are footprints of geospatial technology as far as the e-governance is concerned. So these databases are backbone for any decision making nowadays, and these are valuable for the timely and informed decision making in terms of providing solutions for questions like where, when, and what kind of decisions has to be taken. Today, as we celebrate in the Remote Sensing Day, we also are remembering the father of the Indian space program, Professor Vikram Sarabhai, who has basically given the vision to this country that we should not be second to none in the applications of advanced technologies to the real problems of man and society. And with this vision over the last 4 to 5 decades, in a total indigenous manner, what we call today as the Atmanirbhar Bharat, ISRO has been developing state-of-art technologies with the help of industry and academia to provide space-based services to this great nation. NRSC in particularly is basically a main agency which basically operates the entire ground segment for Earth observation data acquisition and dissemination. We have developed what we call as the integrated multi-mission ground segment for EO satellites, or popularly known as IMGeos, which is there in our Shadnagar campus, outskirts of Hyderabad city. From this particular data center, we are providing 24/7 payload data processing, product generation, software development for ground segment operations. We are also helping various other private sector players also in terms of establishing capabilities for, now the firmware development for higher processing, as well as, in terms of data acquisition systems. So currently, as we speak, more than 22 satellite systems are being, serviced through the IMGeos facility at NRSC. We have coarse resolution data operations for Analytica, OceanSat-2, then foreign satellites like NPP, Suomi, JPSS-1, MODIS, etc. Then medium resolution satellites like ResourceSat-2, which has sensors like LIS-3, AWAVES, LIS-4, ResourceSat-2A, and then the recently launched RISAT-1A, which is a synthetic aperture radar mission, and then of course the foreign missions like Landsat-8, Sentinel-1 and 2, and Novasar, which is also a S-band synthetic aperture radar mission. We also have, capabilities to receive, process, and disseminate high and very high resolution data from Cartosat-2E and Cartosat-3 series of satellites, along with high resolution imaging in the microwave domain from our own RISAT-1A, which was launched this year in the month of February. We have a very big archive, or almost last more than 3 decades archives of satellite data from previous missions, and we also operate a state-of-the-art CalBAL, or the calibration validation facility, to provide very high quality Earth observation data to the user community in India and in our neighborhood. As far as the forthcoming missions are concerned, we are now focusing on an ocean mission. It's called the OceanSat-3 EOS-6 mission. This will have 3 major important sensors. One is for measuring the ocean winds, called Scatchrometer, and then one sensor is for measuring the ocean surface temperature, as well as the third sensor will be basically helping to understand the ocean biology in terms of assessing phytoplanktons, and then marine resources, especially the living marine resources like fisheries, etc. And along with NASA, we are building another new set of synthetic aperture radar mission, which is called NISAR, which will have 2 frequency operations in L and S band, and this will be very useful for various earth science system studies. This is just a small brief on our recently launched microwave satellite called EOS-4 RISAT-1A, which is a C-band synthetic aperture radar. It operates in various modes called like FRS-1, FRS-2, MRS, CRS, and HRS modes, having spatial resolution capability to 1 meter to almost going up to 50 meters or so in different polarization capabilities. This data now, many of you can see from NRSC web portals like Bhuvanidhi Vista, which is a visualization facility where you can see these data sets which are acquired over India or abroad in full resolution visualization mode. And then very soon we are going to announce this data publicly is going to be released through NRSC on our Bhuvanidhi data portal. These are some of the sample images. This is one very wonderful image. It's called Eye of Africa. This is a structure called Richith structure in the Western Africa. You can see the beautiful concentric circles over here. And then this has been captured in multipolarization capabilities, and this color composite is created by dual polarization RISAT-1A SAR CRS datasets. There's another capability of very high resolution imaging of the order of 1 meter or so. Even over oceans, global oceans, we have capability to achieve the SAR coverage. Essentially, all of you know that SAR can see through the clouds also. These are the beautiful islands of Maldives, the capital city of Maldives, Malé, and you can see various ocean processes and effluents going into the sea and various other coral structures around the Maldives regions. We also have a very high resolution Cartosat series data from Cartosat-2E as a Cartosat-2S series, as well as from Cartosat-3 satellite system. This is the telescope of Cartos-2S missions, and using this type of telescopes from space, we have today capability of around 50 centimeter multispectral observations, along with by providing data merging with panchromatic data. This is an image captured by Cartosat-3 satellites over Roma. Apart from 2D imaging, we have also created the 3-dimensional terrain digital twins of entire India and even around surrounding regions. And this popular product is called Cartodem, and this is basically being used for terrain visualization and then for various decision-making processes. I show you here various visualizations of the terrain, and then in terms of planning various activities like road connectivity, pipeline layouts, in terms of providing telecommunication support, line of sight surveys. Large amount of applications are there for the 3rd dimension or the terrain data, which we are providing at 10-meter spatial resolution from our Cartodem, which is available now for full India. There are a host of applications of remote sensing data. Many of you are aware. I will not go into details of this, but as far land use, land cover, wasteland mapping. Secretary DOLR talked about it. Agriculture, we have been working extensively. We have two sets of satellites, INSAT 3D and INSAT 3DR, which are keeping eye every 15 minutes on the weather patterns on India. And then using these data sets, NRSC is also providing climate services through NICES portal, which is basically being serviced through Bhuvan, overall through Bhuvan portal. Forest environment, biodiversity is a very important area, and we have been very actively working in this field in terms of assessing impact of climatic variability on the forest systems, as well as snow, glaciers, and assessing the biodiversity of various landscapes. Disaster support is a major thrust where NRSC, along with other institutions, is actively providing the services to the community in terms of flood damage assessment. And this year our team have been very busy because large amount of floods are occurring during the monsoon period at various locations in India, and we have been providing almost near real time flood damage assessment and the flood inundation assessment to the administrators, so that the relief and rescue operations can be done on the ground. Similarly, we also have information, very precise information on the land sites which are basically occurring because of very heavy rainfall events which are occurring throughout this monsoon season. Oceans are also important to us, and that's why we are now continuing and launching a new series of satellite called OceanSat-3 for assessing various marine living and non-living resources. Satellite communication and SatNav also provide large amount of services in terms of broadcasting, in terms of communication, in terms of tele-education, telehealth, emergency communications during the disaster management, disaster phase, as well as the meteorological observations are also, as I talked about, are very important. Agriculture still is a very key sector for us, and today Government of India, Ministry of Agriculture is talking digital agriculture. And in the field of digital agriculture, there are many applications of geospatial technology in terms of crop area estimation, production forecasting, for drought assessment, horticulture crop assessment, cropping system analysis, command area water resource monitoring, and then soil moisture, pest disease, and of course, the crop insurance now is basically a big area where large amount of commercial activity is happening, and various inputs are being provided for crop insurance related aspects also. Through MNCFC in Ministry of Agriculture, now there is an operational system which provides pre-harvest area and the production estimates of various crops, as well as horticulture crops. Drought monitoring is also now through the intervention of, we have now a drought manual, which it is essential to use the space technology for the declaration of drought by various states. Satellite data sets for providing them assessment about their crop, providing information about crop damages to various crop insurance related companies, as well as assessment of soil productivity. Crop insurance, as I told you, is a big area where a large amount of economic activity is happening through the interventions of schemes like PMFBY. And in 2021, there were around 31,373 crores rupees of worth premiums were collected, and then total sum insured was very huge, which is of the order of around 197,000 crores or so, and total area covered was 43 million hectare out of 180 million hectares. So you can see still there is a large market which basically using the medium and high resolution satellite imaging services both in optical and microwave region. Large amount of economic benefits can be derived in terms of fixing the premium rates, in terms of enhancing the farmer participation by expediting the crop insurance settlements, and by in terms of assessing the risk for for the farmlands for various climate and weather related aspects. NRSC have been working with MNCFC for also developing techniques for smart sampling for crop yield estimation. Funds are basically disbursed by Government of India for this crop cutting experiments for assessing the ground level yields for fixing the crop insurance related matters. And now we have come up with techniques like called smart crop cutting experiment sampling techniques, which is now reducing a large amount of burden in terms, and then using scientific methods for collecting the crop cutting experiment data sets for assessing the wide range of yield variations in states. This is an example of Orissa state. Crop losses through this Maha Agritech experiment, which NRSC and Maharashtra State Remote Sensing and state agriculture authorities are basically now using space-based remote sensing techniques for assessing large amount of crop losses and settling the insurance claims. So a very good prototype is available to us in terms of this experiment called Maha Agritech, where NRSC colleagues have contributed extensively. Similarly, we have come out with a new index. It's called the Crop Health Index, which is basically being used in West Bengal for crop insurance related purposes. Disaster management in all phases of disaster is basically an area, especially for pre and post disaster, where space inputs are very valuable. And today we are providing almost near real time information and services for disasters like flood, cyclone, forest fires, landslides, and earthquake. We are generating the vulnerability and hazard zonation maps, developing disaster for early warning methods, providing information for planners for disaster mitigation measures. And then we are also generating comprehensive disaster specific multi-scale data through our National Disaster Emergency Management Portal called the NDEM portal. And these inputs are now being extensively used by Ministry of Home Affairs, NDMA, Central Water Commission, and various state and central government disaster management authorities. A large amount of capacity building activities as well as support of international charter through the Sentinel Asia and charter activities by engaging international community is also currently being done, and we are also providing our satellites as and when international agencies invoke international charter. This is an example of use of our recently launched synthetic aperture radar data, which is very useful, especially during monsoon season when we need to observe through clouds. And using this satellite data along with other international satellites, now we are providing almost near real-time flood information. This is an example of recent Assam floods. And other water resource related information, especially Himalaya, as all of you know, is known as the water tower of Asia. And we have now carried out the extensive inventory of glacial lakes in entire Himalayan region. And these glacial lakes are also being assessed for threats like GLOF. This is one example of Gepang Glacial Lake, which I show you here, a time lapse that how this glacial lake has been rapidly expanding, and probably it can be a potential source for futuristic GLOF situation. And large amount of activities has been done in IARS and in NRSC and other centers in terms of assessing the GLOF risk for the communities, those who are living downstream of this Gepang glacial lake. Similarly, such type of work is also being done for glacial lake outburst flood risk assessment for glacial lakes, which are basically identified through this global inventory by our NRSC team. And potential glacial lakes, which can be a potential risk for future GLOF activity, have also been identified. Landslide, as I told you, another very important area where large amount of now life as well as property damages are happening, and the frequency of landslides have also increased significantly because the severity of rain has also increased. So we are monitoring these landslide events. These are the examples of recent landslides which has happened in Dima Hasu region in Assam, and you can see the number of landslides which has happened in very small period of time because of the very heavy rains which this region has suffered. And this is the kind of damage to infrastructure we are now able to assess through the high resolution satellite systems like Cartosat 2 and Cartosat 3. We are also doing simulation activities in terms of now monitoring this debris flow, because not only the landslides are causing the damage, but the debris basically which flows down from the hill slope, again it flows through the valley and it also creates large amount of damage to the infrastructure. So this type of simulation modeling exercise helps us in terms of identifying the areas which are basically at risk when such kind of events do occur. There is an operational system in the country today with the help of NRSC as well as for the Forest Survey of India, where almost near real-time monitoring of forest fires are being done across the country. At IIRS Dehradun, where we have also come out with a forest fire app, basically which provides almost real-time information from the ground. And this app is also now being provided to countries like Mexico in their own languages, where the satellite-based observations can be clubbed with the ground information, and the fire mitigation by the authorities, especially the state forest departments, can be improved in terms of resource mobilization. Bhuvan, as many of you are aware, is a geoportal by ISRO, which basically provides a lot of web services in terms of providing data for visualization, providing support for e-governance related aspects, location-specific services, geo-tracking, route directions, location search, etc. And there are many examples where now Bhuvan is being used extensively for the e-governance purposes, especially now we are tagging the entire assets which are being created under Manrega program called, we are calling it Geo Manrega. And, this is providing a comprehensive information about the fund flow and the activities which are happening on the ground, so that the planners can take a view that which are the area, what has been happening to the funds, and then what kind of work is being done. For Ministry of Rural Development, we are also now come out with a portal on Bhuvan itself called Yuktidhara. This is a planning portal, basically meant for planning purposes at the panchayat level itself, where the involvement of the panchayat personnel itself, they can decide what type of planning they want to do in their neighborhood by using this type of facilities through Bhuvan portal. Recently, we had an MOU with UIDAI, which provides the Aadhaar Seva to all the citizens in the country. And now we are trying to geolocate all the Aadhaar Seva Kendras and also do the gap analysis, that which are the areas in which the futuristic, Aadhaar Seva Kendras, etc. has to be there. And based on this, scientific databases and the gap analysis, the future Aadhaar Seva Kendras are going to be opened up, maybe in association with banks or other post offices, etc. So this is a new recent initiative of NRSC, Department of Space, along with the Aadhaar, authorities to provide services, geospatial services to the common man. Previous speakers talked about this Amrit program extensively now. Geospatial inputs have been used. Various ISROs and entities have been working for this Amrit 1 program and now the Amrit 2. And then even we are also doing some work for assessing the health of the water bodies and urban water bodies. So those type of activities, especially in the urban planning and other urban developments, already there is large amount of work which is happening with the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs of Government of India. Land use, land cover assessment is very important, and satellite data plays a very important role. I would like to just share with you one very recent example where a large amount of land use, land cover change has happened, and this is the area of Kashi Vishwanath Temple. So this is the image taken by satellites in 2018. You can see the density of the population in this highly populated city of Kashi, the ancient city, and then this type of planning, and then removing of this infrastructure was done, and subsequently this big complex, what is known as the Kashi Vishwanath Temple complex, has come up. So you can see a very classical example of recently within 2-3 years how large scale land use, land cover change has happened in this particular area, and this is how it also gives you a view of how the Kashi Vishwanath corridor from the Kashi Vishwanath Temple, it connects you directly to the Ganga Ghats, and a AI based analysis has been performed that how many buildings have been demolished and how many new buildings have been made in this area and how much area has remained unchanged. So these are now AI ML based driven examples where you can do the rooftop extraction of the buildings and do a quick analysis in terms of finding out the land use, land cover changes which are happening all around us in a very rapid manner. One example I will give about the Geo Ladakh activity. Now ISRO, IARS, and other institutions are involved in developing what we call as the spatial data infrastructure for the Union Territory of Ladakh, which is a newly created Union Territory. The basic motto is to develop this particular UT as carbon neutral, development aspects. That means developmental activity should not lead to carbon emissions. So large amount of work on finding out, the locations for renewable energy, especially Ladakh has huge potential for solar energy, and we have made assessment. Our colleagues at Dehradun have made assessment about the solar potential, of Ladakh, and you can see that the South Ladakh has huge solar potential development, and these inputs we are now sharing with the Ladakh Union Territory for basically implementing these projects onto the ground. Another example of use of geospatial technology for governance was in a department called Department of Animal Husbandry, where we have now mapped all the assets of Uttarakhand's Animal Husbandry Department, which basically is operating Pashu Seva Kendras, Gochar Kendras, veterinary centers, and today they have the state of Uttarakhand have all the data digitized about their assets on ground, and this is helping the secretaries, additional secretaries, joint secretaries in terms of planning the new resources for the state. Most of these data sets are available through various portals of ISRO. We have this Bhuvan portal from SAT. We have this Vedas portal for mainly on ocean atmosphere. MOSTEC portal is there, and other customized portals are also being developed. And now we have this Bhunidhi portal through which we are now going to disseminate all the satellite data sets which are being received at NRSC for Earth observation purposes. Capacity development is also very important. Basically, as the geospatial industry is likely to grow in future, we need trained manpower. And from ISRO side, large efforts are being done. We have a dedicated institute in Dehradun, along with the Center for Space Science and Technology Education called STEEP, which is also providing capacity building not only in India but in our neighborhood. And of course, we are also collaborating with various educational institutions to provide large amount of trained manpower to the industry, which is likely to grow. So in the end, I would like to end my talk by saying that what's there on the horizon. Of course, we have now the satellite systems by India as well as by other private players across the globe, where very high resolution imaging on a larger swath, high repeatability is enhancing. We are also seeing the advent of UAV remote sensing. We need to have more observations in microwave domain, basically to enhance the all-weather imaging capacity, especially for tropical countries like India. During monsoon season, there are issues related to cloud observation. So we have now currently one system called RISAT-1A, and very soon we are also going to launch another radar satellite very similar to RISAT-1A. It will be called RISAT-1B. And then, of course, we need to also explore the geostationary orbits for providing high temporal resolution, high imaging. In fact, we had an attempt in terms of launching GISAT-1, but somehow that mission, the launch was not successful. But I think this is an area which needs to be explored further, especially the geo-imaging for high resolution or the geo-orbits for high resolution imaging. As far as the communication technologies are concerned, in fact, all of you are aware that high throughput communication satellites, which are now providing, the internet services. Everybody is talking about Starlink series of satellites. Indian entities, especially Reliance Jio, Airtel, etc., also now wants to enter into this area. So soon you will see, the LEO-based high throughput satellites providing high internet connectivity. So this is the future, which is going to change the way we think of internet connectivity today. And of course, the reforms in the space sector in India has already been set in. We have also already institutionalized in space, and which is basically providing coordination among the private sector and ISRO entities for taking up various roles in providing services in space arena. A large amount of new startups have already come up. More than 100 startups are currently working, where our youths are participating in all domains of space technology, either is the space domain or the ground sector domain or the applications domain. So essentially all areas where infrastructure, energy, housing, natural resource, defense, digital India, banking, finance, agriculture, we'll see an emergence of use of geospatial technology in next 1 or 2 decades. And in fact, in my view, this will be like similar to the IT revolution which India had. And this is the time now we have to gear up for this geospatial revolution, and it will provide wide amount of employment opportunity to Indian youths also. I would like to end my talk by saying that we need to have a leapfrogging in terms of changing the mindset, where instead of considering our population as a burden, we need to now see use these human resources which are available to us for developing this country, which can be a source of innovation by creating new markets, by innovations, and by growth. And at this day, when we are remembering Professor Vikram Sarabhai, I would also remember one more doyen of space era of this country, Professor Satish Dhawan, who has quoted many times, and I quote, that while science and technology can be the powerful tools for development, they need to be grown and handled and applied with care to better the lives of the people as a whole, and not merely used to serve a small elite section of the society. So now the time has come where we have to upscale our reach to the masses, so that the society in large can get benefited in various sectors by providing e-governance, by providing transparency, and decision making through scientific processes. And in this, the geospatial technology is going to play a very key role in times to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your highly informative talk and showcasing the various activities of National Remote Sensing Center, Hyderabad. And now our all eminent speakers talk is over, and we would like to request any of the members who have joined either through the Teams meeting link or who are listening to this celebrations live on YouTube, EduSat YouTube, as well as ISRS online lecture series YouTube. You can post your questions, and in the meantime, I have noted down few of the questions which are there in the chat, mainly related to the this Namami Gange project. So one question which has been asked by Shri Ramesh P. Singh ji, who is our honorable a member of ISRS and also previously editor of our journal. So he has asked that there are a lot of diesel boats in Ganga river near to his hometown in UP, and which cause a lot of smoke and pollution. So that question is to the respected DG sir. And similar to this question, there is a suggestion that will it be possible to monitor the pH of the Ganga river, especially near the ghats? So I request if Honorable Ashok ji can answer these questions.
Yes, very, very interesting question. So actually what happens, we have already 97 mounting centers and about 46, 76 remote real-time mounting centers are there. So 97 mounting centers on manually, and then about, as I said, 77 remote mounting centers are also established, and the information is coming. We are planning to extend it in a bigger way with the some IoT technology and etc., so that some real-time information comes in. There are points associated with this. One is that the fecal coliform and all requires sampling and then processing it for about 24 hours. So there are some issues associated with testing the water quality as in the form of air and all, because this is something, the water has to be collected, then the culture, and then only the count of the fecal coliform can be taken up. So there are some processes associated issues are there, but jahan pe wo nahi hai, we will try to indicate the water quality parameters. And another thing which we are working on is have a single number to denote a water quality. आप अगर देखे जाए तो air quality index करके एक number हम बनाया है जिसमें all the nitrous oxide, carbon monoxide सबका issue आ जाता है. अभी water में we have a different parameters used for different purposes. कोई dissolved oxygen बोलते हैं, कोई biological oxygen demand बोलते हैं, कोई कई जगह पे they look at the coliform, somewhere total solids का देखते हैं, total dissolved solids का देते हैं. So we are now trying to work out one single indicator for water quality index, like water quality indices. एक number बताएंगे, उसी से हमको पता चल सकता है कि water का quality क्या होता है. This is a matter of debate because the weightages to be added to the various components are still debated. So that process is going on. So उसपे ये जाएंगे. Another point you talked about the number of boats and the pollution caused by it. Yes, it is a fact because diesel वो सब spill over हो जाता है तो इसमें problem आ जाता है. But the point is that livelihood is also a very important aspect. The fishing boats का तो रहना ही है. So probably we'll try to request the state governments to improve the quality of boat, and also as a part of the Ardhaganga, we have actually tried to use it as a inland waterway or channel for movement of materials. तो उसका भी चल रहा है. So these are we have somehow we have to balance these two concerns. The mode of transport in water is probably the cheapest. It takes time, it is probably one of the cheapest. But then the concern is about the available of the river water. So कहीं पे कहीं dredging करना पड़ता है, and also the spill of the fuel onto the water, which may affect the water biodiversity in the water. This is a slightly balancing requirement. तो उसमें हम अभी विचार कर रहे हैं. We are not actually explore too much of option of this thing. So we will require the state governments to improve the fishing boat quality, etc., etc.
Yes, thank you, sir. And similar to this question, because in main Ganga River, water quality is being monitored, but is it possible and is there any plan? There are a lot of tributaries also. Sometimes they are also getting polluted.
Yamuna,
to monitor
Yamuna,
those.
We have increased a lot of monitoring stations in the Yamuna basin, and also the industrial effluent also is being monitored, and we have influential monitoring centers also established in Yamuna in a big way. So these are all probably in another 5-6 months we may get a increased large number of water quality monitoring stations and real-time information available with us.
Yes, thank you, sir. And one question related to the topography of this Ganga basin, because in your talk you mentioned that 50 centimeter digital elevation model is available. So is it available for the public or for academic use, or is it only for the government departments, authorized government departments?
So Survey of India will share the geo-enabled portal for the public users, and the final data he will share to the government department too.
And as probably sensitive areas, so information थोड़ा mask करके accessibility permission will be public के लिए क्या क्या देना वो दे देंगे, because this is actually will be put in a public domain.
Okay, thank you, sir. And I think we don't have any. Yes, and there is one question on e-governance plans for climate change mitigation and adaptation.
IIT Delhi को हमने study दिया हुआ है to make a modeling of the climate changes effect. In fact, if you look at it, the National Water Mission also had done a lot of work on this climate impact of climate change. I think main universities are doing for the entire basin in the country, and we are Namami Gange has given project of 1.31 crore project to IIT Delhi to do the climate change scenario mapping using weather research and forecasting model.
Yes, sir. And one question related to this is how do we have sustainable livelihood in this Ganga basin in view of development activities as well as the climate change threats and the disaster risk reduction? So how do we make
How do we get
sustainable
sustainable?
livelihood, sir?
How do we get sustainable livelihood? Okay. So there are actually, if you look at it, I mentioned about the Aarti Ganga, the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister's vision to link people or connect river people through the bridge of economics is one very major decision which or paradigm shift which we are now moving forward. So here there are a lot of livelihood opportunities identified. See, a simple example is we look at fisheries. Fisheries is also a good opportunity where we are putting fishes back to the river and then letting it grow and ensuring that the quality of the fishes and the quantity improve. And
Welcome to VoiceOver. VoiceOver speaks descriptions of items on the screen
and second is we are also looking at the opportunities of using tourism in a big way. We are also looking at using the livelihood option of responsible tourism in a big way to develop. Another thing is the community, fishermen community, and the people who are associated with this Ganga and its upkeep are being trained to ensure that their livelihood also are improved by taking care of River Ganga and the resources available in River Ganga. So this is a win-win situation. We are looking at it. We are training women self-help groups to organize not these diesel-driven boats, but smaller boats which can help in small river tourism. They also sell their products of their hinterland in that boat, so that the tourists who come to see us to take part in that boating can also buy it. We are also trying to develop ghats. There are a lot of ghats which were developed over the years. In these ghats, we are trying to make a program called the Ghat Mein Haat. Every Saturday, we'll try to make a sort of flea market. There's no permanent structures will be done because there's a ban on permanent structures being built on the floodplains. Chota flea market jaise hafte mein ek bar thoda local products or local weaves, local culinaries, and the most important products of the disease को बेचने के लिए एक मौका दे जाएंगे. And another important aspect is we are looking at the natural farming in a big way on 10 kilometers either side of the river. This is where we require a lot of assistance from this remote sensing because cadastral wide mapping, including the ownership pattern of the people, land use pattern as well as the ownership pattern is being worked out, and then motivating that farmers to move for appropriate cultivation without using chemical fertilizers. In a way, that will be very helpful for us to see that the chemical fertilizers don't get washed down to the river and create a problem of for our biodiversity and our STPs. Because most of the STPs, as you know, work on microorganisms. It's a bio treatment, so bioreactors. If chemicals from the fertilizers come into the river, probably it also would kill the microorganisms. So we are also very concerned that the 10 kilometers either side of the river, we should go for natural farming. So natural farming ka products ko bhi बेचने के लिए market के लिए we have this cart. Cart में we are trying to have this heart. So cart में heart is a concept which we are trying to give a marketing space for the people. So these are the couple of the livelihood initiatives we have taken. Another one is about the Inland Waterway Authority is developing 62 jetties for landing of boats. This landing of boats can be used for local tourism by way of some river cruises, etc., or even landing of fisheries boats can there. And we are also looking at opportunity to have some refrigeration units also in these jetties so that fishes can be stored and then transported for higher values.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable inputs. And informing all our participants about the various initiatives which are being taken by NMCG for the livelihood. And we will definitely look positively into the requirements of NMCG, especially that 10-kilometer buffer where remote sensing and also some of the process-based models which can simulate the various agricultural scenario, land use scenario, and how much nutrients or that is coming if you do not you stop the use of fertilizers. So those we will positively look into and provide all the possible solution in this aspect. And now I request Dr. Prakash Chauhan to start the panel discussion among the our key speakers. And also there is a request from our side that our annual symposium that is Indian Society of Remote Sensing, we conduct an annual symposium to have a showcase of all the geospatial activities done by government, academia, and industry. So we are planning to launch our website today. So I have pasted the web links in chat box, and I also request Dr. Prakash Chauhanji and our partner in this particular major event of ISRS, Shri Sanjay ji, to inaugurate our website and first call for papers. Sir.
Yep, Praveen, you can display that particular thing. Share this link so that
Yes,
everybody can see.
Okay, sir.
Sanjay Kumar ji, are you there? You can switch on your cameras.
Yes, sir. So this is the website, sir, where Indian Society of Remote Sensing, Indian Society of Geomatics, the premier societies, professional societies in the field of geospatial technology, have joined hands with the geospatial media, where they conduct their annual symposium in GeoSmart. So this year we have this joint partnership where strengths of each of these organizations will be showcased in a very bigger platform, and which is planned to be organized at HICC Hyderabad from 15th to 17th November 2022. So this is the main website.
You can scroll down.
Yeah, you can see the main features here, all the call for papers, and within this you will find one more link here which will take you to the ISRS this symposium. This is just a time lag. So this ISRS ISG symposium, we have the theme of geospatial technology journey from data to intelligence. So this program and various themes like natural resource monitoring to climate risk to advanced technologies like UAV lidar, those themes has been carefully planned by our local organizing committee, that is the Hyderabad chapter of our ISRS under leadership of Prakash Chauhan sir and VV Rao sir. So these themes are there, and the first before the main conference, we will have this pre-symposium tutorial also on 12th to 13th 2022, and Director NRC has graciously accepted this, and the student community and other people who want to attend this symposium, they can attend. And the major themes are machine learning, deep learning for remote sensing, microwave remote sensing, and recent trends in UAV remote sensing application. And our this registration will open on 25th August, and abstract submission will open in the same website on 20th of August. And the last date for abstract submission for the scientific publication is 5th October 2022. And for last date of registration for the symposium is 10th November. And we would ask our student and other research community in academia, industry, and government to submit the papers, and we are trying to get this under the digital object identifier DOI under our partner publication from international publication houses. So it is a good opportunity to showcase your research findings, your projects in this annual symposium of ISRS ISG, and also the industry and government, they can also use this opportunity to showcase their work under GeoSmart, which is the leading symposium for showcasing the work of industry and the government departments.
Thank you, Dr. Praveen. May I request Mr. Sanjay Kumar, if he is available, can just switch on his camera.
I think my camera is on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, thank you. So good morning, Sanjay ji, and it is a pleasure to announce that this year ISRS and ISG symposium will be, jointly hosted with another, very big name, which every year we have this GeoSmart India 20, conclave. This year it will be GeoSmart India 2022, and ISRS, ISG, and Geospatial World, all three of us are coming together, and we will have this event HICC Hyderabad. I think I lost the link. HICC Hyderabad during 15 to 17 November. And I am so glad that today we are opening this particular website. This is the first time we are showcasing you through this website the plans for this joint event. And I congratulate the entire team of Geospatial World, ISRS and ISG for this wonderful initiative and choosing this important day for releasing for the first time the plans for this symposium. Thank you very much. I request Sanjay ji to say a few words, and then we can declare this particular website open.
First of all, thank you very much, Dr. Prakash and colleagues at ISRS and ISG. Very good afternoon to everyone. Congratulations on the Remote Sensing Day. This is a great day, and I was, we are celebrating the birth center, day of Bikram Sarabhai, who has been a visionary for our nation, not only for the remote sensing, but for several other institutions which he founded. I think it's a great opportunity. What we have seen in last 2-3 years is the fact that space infrastructure and geospatial infrastructure serve as the backbone of digitalization of economy, digitalization of society. And while doing so, the government of India has very clearly articulated as well as indicated that the collaboration between private sector, government sector, academic institutions is very important. And that's equally important also because of the fact that we are now moving towards applications. And when we start making applications, we have to collaborate between the technologies. And in that view, I think our collaboration with the ISG and ISRS is very path-breaking. I must say that it is very path-breaking because we would be able to demonstrate the whole value chain of geospatial location, earth observation, GNSS capabilities under one roof as a whole ecosystem. At the same time, the government, academia, professional institutions, and the private sector getting together to build this platform to showcase our value and our relevance and our contributions in the society and the economy. And what is very with the partnership with not only getting professional institution, but also the students, which is the forte of ISRS, and the amount of effort ISRS puts on the capacity development is very, very important, and we are very committed to support this. It's a great opportunity, and I want to thank ISRS and ISG team, and especially Dr. Prakash for his leadership in working together with us to make this collaboration beneficial for the society at large. Thank you very much, Dr. Prakash.
Thank you, Sanjay ji, and I think thank you to Praveen for showcasing this. I think we can declare this particular website now open formally, and then people can go through.
Yes, sir.
I will request all those who are attending today's program, all ISRS members and part of the geospatial community to go through this website. And I will urge all of you to actively participate in this symposium and also spread the words among the student community that we are going to host these 3 wonderful pre-symposium tutorials with the help of Department of Space, National Remote Sensing Center, and other ISRO entities. So it's a unique opportunity to take advantage of this, and it's quite cost competitive also compared to the events of similar such type. And we have a great venue at Hyderabad at HICC. So wishing you this particular event a great success. And today is one of the very important day when we are opening this particular website. So congratulations to each one of you.
And if you have any questions, we can take up. Otherwise, I request all of you to switch on your videos so that we can have one group photograph. I request Ashok ji and Ajay ji also, if you are present, to switch on your videos. And it is our pleasure to host you in this National Remote Sensing Day. And we look forward for your support in our future events of ISRS as well as national programs of ISRO as well. I thank all the participants who have joined through Windows Team or via our two major YouTube channels of ISRS and IIRS.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for providing the able leadership and guidance for conducting this program smoothly.
Thank you, Praveen. So shall
And
we close now?
just note down the date, the 20th August, we will start the abstract submission in the website.
25th, you told, I think.
20th August abstract registration, we will start on 25th, sir.
Okay. Good.
Yes.
So,
Thank you.
So very nice. Thank you very much. With this, we can close.
Yes, sir, we can close.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Happy National Remote Sensing Day to all.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.